r/EntitledParents, episode 28. Woman threatens to call security on me because I didn't give her a gift card I won in a raffle. Cast, me and the crazy bitch, M. About a week ago there was a raffle at my sister's school and the winner gets a $100 prepaid gift card that you can use anywhere. And tickets were $5 each or 5 for $20. I only bought one, while this woman bought 5, and I ended up winning the gift card. After grabbing the gift card and talking to my sister and parents for a few minutes, I stepped out of the gymnasium to get a drink at the vending machine, where M came up to me. M, hey, would you be able to give me that gift card? I'm short on money and my son really needs it tomorrow. Me, no, sorry. I stepped around her and started walking back to the gymnasium when she hustled in front of me. M, I told you I need it, right? Me, yay. M, so pass it here. She opened her hand out. Me, no, it's mine, I won it. If you were short on money then you shouldn't have dropped $20 into a raffle. I stepped around her again when she grabbed my arm saying, M, give it here or I'll tell the constable you're assaulting me. Me, go right the fuck ahead, there's a camera right there. Her face went completely red because her plan just fell apart and she told me to go fuck yourself and she stomped off. Some people are just terrible. Edit, so I keep getting questions about how I knew how many tickets she bought. She was in front of me in line. Her raspy ass voice is what caught my attention to look at her. Ep assaults me for reading books of the occult. So I was at the public library, a pretty awesome place, after school. It's right next to my school and I asked my mom to pick me up from there since I wanted to check out some books. I got into the Harry Potter series recently and I just finished the Goblet of Fire. I walked down the aisle to the author's name and to my delight, found it. After checking out I had another 15 minutes, so I sat down to read my book. I had just started reading with earbuds, sitting in a comfy chair in the corner of the library keeping to myself, when I felt the long talons of a Karen wrap my shoulder. Ahem. I took one of my earbuds out and turned to her with a confused look on my face. Yes? I see now that she has a toddler in tow. A surprisingly well-behaved one too. What are you reading? Why? I don't know you, do I? I ask, still confused but now getting strong Karen vibes. Well, you are obviously reading Harry Potter. That book is of the occult. I would appreciate if you didn't read that in front of my child. My jaw hangs open in awe. I had really found a wild Karen. Finally I spoke, ma'am, I'm sitting in the corner of the library with my backpack in my lap. You'd have to go out of your way to see me, and even further to see what I'm reading. The woman scoffs and walks away for a few seconds. She then comes back with a chair and sits 10 feet away facing me giving me a death stare. She sits there while I enjoy my book. Then I look up and she's gone. Okay, I'm fine. She left her books though. I go back to reading. She comes back with a librarian in tow as well as her kid who's still really calm. This is him, ma'am. The one reading *pornography*. The librarian looks at me and asks, is this true? I show her that I'm reading Harry Potter. I'm pretty sure this isn't porn. Well, it might as well be. Says the M, they're both of the devil. The librarian looks at her with a dumbfounded look on her face for a few seconds before regaining her composure and saying, ma'am, this book is from the library. We carefully look at all of the books we put in the youth section of our library. If you don't mind, I have to deal with things that are worth my time. The Karen, defeated, plops back on her seat and grimaces. I looked at my phone and noticed that my mom was picking me up soon and got ready to leave. I stopped though with an amazing idea. I stifle a grin and hold in a chuckle while I dig in my backpack and find what I was looking for. My school had a book fair recently and they had one pence. I bought one since I thought they looked cool and left it in my backpack then forgot about it. I slowly pull it out of my bag and look at her in the eye. With the most menacing voice I can conjure without laughing, I waved my wand and say Avada smack. Before I could finish the spell, this woman slapped me across the face. I felt the pain of the slap and saw the red hand-shaped mark she left. What the fuck? You bitch. The woman realized she slipped up and started to pick up her stuff and speed walk away, still scolding me for being a pagan cultist and exposing her child to such language. I chased after her telling her that she just assaulted a minor and could go to jail, but stopped when I realized the scene I was making. I called my mom and asked her to pick me up early. In the meantime, I walked to the bathroom to look at the mark she left. My mom came a bit later and saw the red hand shape on my face. I told her about what happened. She told me I probably shouldn't have done the thing with the wand. Then I just started laughing. It started as a bit of a chuckle, but soon enough I was laughing hysterically, gripping my sides. Tears were rolling down my face from laughing so much. When I got home, I could hardly breathe. I was laughing so hard. I finally calmed down and dropped myself on my couch and started writing this. I hope you guys enjoyed my story of the menacing Em and her witch hatred. You don't deserve to be loved because you're depressed. Hello, Redditors. I've decided to write my story after taking so much time thinking whether I should post it or not, but thanks to you /AlexAGayBoy for making me feel like I can post my story because our stories are quite similar, so I decided to post what happened to me. Asterisk, please note that this story might be triggering for some people. It involves self-harm and a suicide attempt. Be safe y'all. I'd like to apologize about my poor English. It's not my first language, so before everything let me tell you about my mom. She's a kind person and a really nice woman, but she struggled a lot through her life, which made her always scared, not sure of anything and extremely angry. That's exactly her problem. It happened back in May, exactly the 16th. I was struggling with the various different things, and it was getting super hard on me. Even when I decided to talk with my doctors, they didn't help, so in that day I decided to do it. Went to the kitchen and took 7 Migral tablets for severe migraines and went to sleep. But I thought, wait, what I did is not normal, let me do a quick research, and that's when it was the shock. Apparently taking 4 tablets at once is considered lethal. I took 7, and I'm only 16, so that's definitely a life-threatening situation. And at that moment I felt like I should immediately ask for help. Went to my mom and fake cried telling her I'm having massive pain in my stomach, and weirdly she took me to the hospital. She prefers dying over taking me to the hospital, especially if it's late at night. I went there, and before getting in, I opened the car door and threw up everywhere, and oh my, it was super scary. I couldn't walk, so they put me in a wheelchair and directly to the doctor. Now we're in the doctor's office and he's asking me what's wrong. So I basically told him my stomach hurts. He didn't ask anything else and decided it was just food poisoning, but I couldn't lie more than that, so I told him in English, my first language is Arabic, that I tried to kill myself. He stood up next to me and whispered, "Why didn't you tell your mom?" "I'm scared," I said. She started yelling at me in front of him, telling me to stop talking quietly. He tried to calm her down, but she refused, telling him it's none of his business, which is obviously so disrespectful. He got back to sit on his chair and called the nearest hospital, telling them to send an ambulance as soon as possible. He told me to get out for a bit so he can talk with my mom, so I did. Unfortunately, he failed to convince my mom to be gentle on me, and she was even more scary and angry. I'm currently on the bed with an fourth and nurses around me waiting for the ambulance. My mom walked towards me and snatched my phone from my hands and started blocking all the people I know, telling me that I'll never see this phone again because I tried to kill myself. An argument happened and she finally gave my phone to me by throwing it on me aggressively, and she went out of the room. Now imagine how I feel. I'm literally dying, and my mom is making me feel like shit. Amazing, right? The ambulance came and took me to the hospital. It's a really nice hospital, BTW. They asked me a few questions and took me to one of the rooms. 5 minutes later my mom arrived. Now the nurses are injecting me and whatever, and there's my mom telling me that I shouldn't actually be saved. I didn't reply. It's now 2 a.m. and I'm on my bed with high temperature as it's a side effect and can't sleep. The pills has a large amount of caffeine in it. I'm feeling sad and lost and I can't hear anything other than the devices around me and my mom talking shit about me on the phone. I told the nurses to kick her out or something, but they couldn't because one, I'm under 18 and someone had to be with me too. She's your mom. Alright, now after she's done talking about me, she came to me and asked me why did I do what I did. Told her the whole story and instead of making me feel better she said, well, that's why you don't deserve our love. You're so depressed. Wow, excuse me? I decided to not anger myself, so I didn't reply this time too. My friends are calling her asking about me. My school is concerned too, but because I'll bring shame to her if people knew I tried to kill myself, she decided to lie about it in an awful way. We had to wait until the next day so I can talk with the psychiatrist and she'll decide whether I should go home or be sent to the psych ward. I'm starving and they can't feed me anything due to my condition, plus I didn't sleep for 2 days and my mom won't stop making me feel like shit. I was in my room thinking to myself, why didn't I kill myself? Why did I ask for help in the first place? Anyways, the psychiatrist came and we talked for a bit and thankfully he decided I can go home. Now we are in the car and I'm covered in bruises and sweat and it's super hot outside. I asked my mom for food because I've been starving. She didn't give me a reply and we went home. I decided to take a day off as I'm not mentally prepared for school yet, but guess what she did? She decided to wake me up extra early, threatening to beat me if I didn't go to school. So I went to the school's social worker and told her about the whole story and she decided to make my mom see the school's principal to discuss a few things with her. When she was done I had to listen to her for like half an hour giving me a lecture about how dumb I'm for embarrassing her while she's threatening me again. My school helped me out of it and made me feel safe and happy. I'm currently feeling a little better. Yeah, I still struggle, but I'm stronger than before. And yeah, my mom is still super rude to me, but I kinda got used to it. PTL. Doctor tried to commit suicide and my mom kept abusing me mentally the whole time, which made me feel guilty because I asked for help. Apparently M thinks autism is a contest. For those who now know me from my posts, I'm an autistic woman who suffers from severe PTSD. I have many little coping skills I use to help with my day-to-day life. I pointy listening to relaxation music, stress balls, stuffed animals. I do at times act younger than my age due to severe panic attack episodes, and this takes place right after one. My wife and I were on the subway. She was able to calm me down after a groping incident and had me on a seat listening to my 3DS as I play Animal Crossing New Leaf. Really helps me unwind. A kid sits next to me, preteen if I have to guess, and asked what I'm doing. So I tell him I'm playing Animal Crossing and go back to my game. I do however open up my Sanrio backpack and keep it on my lap to eat Teddy Grahams. The kid asked if he could have some, and I ignore him. After a stop he gets up, and I assumed it was his stop, but instead he brings his mom over. He was holding her hand and sniffling dramatically. Yeah, I saw the smirk as he moved to hide behind her. LP equals me, W for wife, M the apparent expert, Ek the little angel Ek, mommy she's the one who said it. I look up, raised a bro, my wife crossing her arms, puffing up her chest as she stood closer to me. M, why the fuck did you call Ek a retard and refuse to let him sit? He's tired. LP, lady, I didn't tell him diddly squat, I'm just trying to enjoy myself. W, it's true, but D go on. M, Ek has autism, he's very sensitive, and you made him cry. There's no tears, but okay. LP, okay, I have autism too, it's nothing special, and if he misunderstood what I was saying then I'm sorry. M, you don't look autistic, you just don't like Ek cause he has special needs and he's hungry. Why didn't you share your chips with him? W, they are not chips, and why the hell would we share? I could have spat on them, they could be expired. And autism isn't a contest, so stop acting like you're a judge. M's face went red, she was biting her lip and Ek said something I couldn't hear, but it made M grin. If you're autistic you know it's important to share, and we have several stops to go. Let exit with me and borrow your game. W. Try and take it, and I'll do something that will get us both kicked off the train. I decide that I'm done. I pack up my things and hold my backpack to my chest. M tried saying how selfish I am, that I'm not even autistic, and I'm just jealous of her son. Ek whined he was hungry, but I guess M got the message. We're at a standstill when my wife stood up, looked her in the eyes, and cracked her knuckles. My wife was born with fingers a bit thicker than they should be, so her fists are big. I thoroughly enjoyed watching M back up and nearly falling over when the train turned suddenly. Moral: don't judge someone, and don't touch my fucking teddygrams, but this is row F. So my sister was on a flight to Buenos Aires when Karen showed up with her son Kevin, fake names obviously, quickly, Karen equals M, Kevin equals NORM, kid SIS equals sister. So when my sister realized this woman had the wrong seats, she politely asked them to move. C's, hey, I think you guys have the wrong seat. You see I'm by the window. Row F. Karen, yeah, but this is row F, and besides we're sitting here now. C's, well, you're sitting in the wrong seat, Karen, but Kevin wants to sit next to the window. The kid wasn't even by the window. He was sitting in the middle. She just wanted to sit by the window. C's, well, he's sitting in the middle, and you're sitting in my seat, so please move. Karen, fine. Throughout the rest of the short flight Karen acted badly towards C's. And that's it. Thanks for reading this short post. Have a nice day, stranger. M demands that I turn off my music. I'm on mobile and English is not my first language, so sorry in advance for any mistakes. Background: where I live there is a public pool that I'd open for around 400 families. People that live there, not sure why, but a lot of people here seem entitled and think that they deserve stuff just cause they live here. I work as a LF in these pool. It was around 3 PM. 7 or so hours into my shift, the pool was nearly empty. It was only M, her kid and a random swimmer, RS. In order to keep myself sane, I started playing some music, not very loud, and other than watch the pool, I mostly kept to myself. Kid and RS were in the water and M was reading on the other side of the compound, pretty far away tbh, not sure how she heard it, and if she did. Barely. She comes up to me and tells me to lower the volume, as it bothers her, while she is reading. I tell her okay, and while she leaves, I give it 2 clicks on the volume down button. A few minimums later she comes back and this is pretty much how the conversation went. M, you are so rude. How dare you not turn off your music? I come at this hour, because no one is here, and I deserve to read peacefully. Me, I did turn it down, ma'am. Please leave me alone. Not sure how you can even hear it. M, don't you talk back to me. The argument keeps going, and it ends in this more or less: me, ma'am, who is here for longer, me or you? She didn't answer me, so go away, back to her spot, and if the music bothers you too much, leave. I was pissed at this point, and not too respectful. She froze, and went back to her spot, and I turned the music back to what it was. RS tells me that I did the right thing, and that she is a total idiot at T. Sorry for the not very exciting ending. Hopefully you enjoyed summary. M demands I turn down my not very loud music during my 12-hour shift cause she deserves. C, rest in peace. Entitled parent throws a printer at me. The lovely cast: Karen, the horror of the show, me awesome manager, Lucas, not real name. This is my first time posting here, but after looking at so many stories about encounters with entitled parents, I feel like it's time to post my experience. Point: in the summer of 2017, I was working at an office supply store on a rainy day. If you aren't in retail or the service industry, rainy days get the best business, but with a trade of it being overwhelming for an inexperienced cashier. At the time I was the only cashier on duty, because we were understaffed due to a lot of my coworkers being out sick. It was around 1 in the afternoon, and I had to deal with a line of 8 people who had all bought a ton of back to school items, except a lady in the back carrying a printer. I only made a few glances at her when I would look at the line, when I began to check out a new person. From what I could see, that she looked pissed. I checked out people as quickly as possible because I didn't want anyone to stay in line for 20 minutes. 15 minutes had passed by the time I got to her. Here is the dialogue. If looks could kill, I would be riddled with bullet holes. Me. Hi, welcome to generic office supply store. How can I help? Karen, I don't want any of your customer service bullshit. I bought this printer from you guys and it's broken after a week. I want a refund. I already knew that this was a lie because I worked full time last week and when I look at the printer there was a clear layer of dust on it. Me, ma'am, do you have the receipt with you? Karen, I lost it. Me, do you happen to have the card you bought this with you? The card that I bought it with expired, so I can get it anyways? Me, I'm sorry ma'am, I cannot refund this printer without any proof you buying it within our return time policy, or that you bought it here. Her face went as red as a tomato and yells, I want to see a manager, because I will not be harassed by you. I know the manager and I will have you fired in a second. This honestly scared me, because this was the first time a customer exploded on me like this. I called my manager on the radio to come up front. I turned back to her and say with my best customer service smile that he will be here as soon as he can. My manager was in the back in a meeting with corporate, so it would take 20 minutes tops. That's what I thought. She had the smuggest grin on her face, which honestly pissed me off, but I kept my best customer service face on. 5 minutes passed, and Lucas still had not come up front yet. She hurling insults at me and the store the entire time. Are you the only one here? The manager absolutely retarded or deaf because of how long they are taking. Me, my manager is in a meeting with corporate, so I apologize for the inconvenience. Another 5 minutes passed with her becoming angrier as she paced back and forth. Looking ready to explode into a fireball, I noticed this, and I turn my back to radio my manager again to see if I get a response, and I hear RRMPH. I look to see her throwing the printer at me with all she had. It was clear that she was struggling to lift it, so I had enough time to move mostly out of the way, but it had made its mark on my hand. Before I could even process what happened, she stormed out the door. Around a minute later my manager came out and asked what happened. I explained what happened, and he had a look at the footage. He asked if I wanted to call the police and file charges. I was honestly too tired to give a damn about charges and said no. We didn't call the police, but word went out to other local businesses and our other sister locations about the incident, so now she is banned from a lot of stores and amp. #X200B. Edit. I've noticed a lot of people saying that I should have called the police. At the time I was a scared and tired teen who simply wanted to get home after that whole ordeal. In hindsight I should have absolutely called the police, and I was an idiot to not call. I'll be back in 2.5 hours. 7 hours later. Longtime lurker, first time poster. Also posting on mobile. So I'm not sure if this is an entitled parent story, but it doesn't really fit anywhere else, and I think it's close enough. Background, not much needed. All you need to know really is that we live in an apartment. I will explain any further details in the story. Now onto the story. So another person in our apartment, RM, asked my grandmother to babysit her kid after school for 2.5 hours. Seems simple, just a little kid we have to watch for a while. I have a ton of video games. That couldn't be too hard, right? So the day comes, and he seems alright at first. I set up a chair for him when we are playing games, and my grandma made a pitcher of iced tea for him beforehand, and he acts polite. Then the video games begin. First game, Lego Star Wars. We enter a level in free play. I chose Darth Vader, and he chooses Boba Fett. Seems fun at first, then he realizes Boba Fett can throw bombs. And the rest of the level consists of him blowing us up, over, and over, and over again. I try to choose a new level of my own, but he is so bad, he can't even get past the first obstacle, which is bad, cause in this level, if one of us dies, we are both sent back to the start of that section. So we stop playing that game, and we reach the next problem. He keeps throwing my game discs on the floor, even when I tell him not to do that. I was on a rocking chair at the time, so I could have easily broken one of the discs, but luckily I didn't. Next game, Lego Batman 2. We walk outside of the Batcave for 2 minutes, and he's bored, so we stop playing. Third game, Mortal Kombat vs DC Universe. Before anyone says anything, MK vs DC actually has a T rating, instead of MK's usual M rating due to having DC characters like Batman and Superman. Plus there is even an option to turn off all blood effects, which I did, so I can't remember who I picked. Think it was either Batman or Scorpion, and he picks Scorpion, and we start playing. And I already see the problem, he's only using the kick button. Nothing else, just the kick button. Needless to say, I beat him, and he's the kinda kid who doesn't like losing, and says I cheated, but luckily there's nothing else about it besides that. Nothing else big happens with the games after that. Reminder that he's throwing the discs on the ground every time we are picking new games to play, despite me telling him to stop. After this, we realize it's almost 6 o'clock, despite the kid's mom saying she'd be back by 5:30. We keep playing games to pass the time, and now it's about 6:30. Even the kid's concerned at this point, and my grandma is trying to get a hold of her, but she doesn't pick up her phone. We keep playing, and it reaches 9 o'clock. At this point my grandma has to call the kid's grandmother, so she can call the mother, and let her know to pick up her kid. It reaches 10 o'clock, and finally she's here, to pick her kid up, says something about how sorry she is about being so late, how are you 4 hours, and 30 minutes late, and leaves, finally. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is, that day was my mother's birthday. For the entirety of my mom's birthday, I didn't see her once, because we spent all day watching that kid, and she worked that night, so we couldn't stay up late and spend any time together. Side note, after this, a family friend of ours told us that they also babysat that kid while he was sick, and apparently would refuse to cover his mouth when coughing, causing everyone in the house to get sick afterwards.